Do-do-do-do. Babushka!
Did you just shoot my door?
Come on, check it out, Hamster. I'm all wobbly now.
Yes, I can see that you're a pro at handling your Wii, but can you stop that? You're getting me nauseous.
Come on, check out what happens when I shoot. I can make weird faces in the blast reflections like boo.
Watch where you're pointing that thing.
Babushka! I want to play some Metroid, Hamster.
I can see that.
So we finally get around to reviewing Metroid Prime 3 right after I finish redecorating and moving my giant poster. Surprisingly enough, this was the first Metroid game I played at launch, and with a strategy guide to boot. I was a bit of a wuss back then. This was my first game poster ever, and it was for a game that I really loved. It's always been displayed in one way or another since 2007, just not from this particular camera angle. Fun fact, I actually started uploading YouTube videos about games in 2007. And it was even there too, just a little off camera. So even the crazy Metroid guy was once an uninformed noob, as I believe the children these days are saying. Give me a break, I was playing the NES game. Now look at the poster! It's just Metroid Prime again. Put on the Wii! Yeah, that's not even the half of it. And this ironically being my first Prime game, these key differences sailed clean over my head. Whee! Like how this is by far the most linear of the entire Prime series, resulting in it playing a little less Metroid and a little more Dead Space. And don't forget the new pointer controls adding a ton to the first-person style, but also coming along its typical quirks like awkward, unnecessary motions to activate thrusters, pull and twist energy cells, and solder power lines, activate touchscreens. Okay, it's overused. But let's remember all the cool, different things about this Prime, like how you have multiple planets to explore for the first time in the series. But the areas themselves are no bigger than last time, so actually it's just a glorified loading screen for flavor. Instead of elevators, you have to visit your ship to swap environments. Though this finally adds some function to your ship, it kind of destroys the multi-linking area thing that defines the genre. But you can also utilize your ship in the field with the new command visor, letting you grapple away hazards and tools or call upon a freaking flyby airstrike, which gets criminally underutilized to the extent that finding gunship missile expansions is more of a disappointment than anything. Your new plasma and nova beams simply stack now, opening new doors and buffing your firepower. Yeah, beam swapping was kind of integral to Prime 1 and 2, but just look at the Wiimote! It wasn't possible! Okay, so the left and right on the D-pad weren't used, but still! At least one of the rare issues with Primes 1 and 2 gets remedied in 3. Instead of demanding that the player hunts down all of the artifacts or comparable stand-in items in order to beat the game, they instead need to collect a sufficient amount of the new energy cells needed to power doors in a final area in order to proceed. You can actually skip picking up a good number of them, and the rest are generally obvious pickups along your journey. Yeah, so now the hard part is finagling the stupid Wiimote to line up properly just so you can twist it, pull it, and bop it out of place. No kidding. This is the hard part, and it's not even supposed to be. Wii jank aside, Retro Studios also decided to integrate a new suit for Samus called the PED suit, which contains and restrains her new phase-on corruption, while also allowing her to enter the new hyper mode. Well, it's sorta new. I mean, it was technically the final boss encounter of Prime 1's fight, but whatever. Samus can expend one energy tank while wearing the PED suit to basically become a temporary OP phase-on fueled killing machine, even getting upgrades along the way further powering up this mode even more, like the Hyper Ball, Hyper Missile, and Hyper Grapple. Of all things. At first I was wary of losing an entire energy tank just for some extra power, but after enough use I saw how utterly busted Hyper Mode is, annihilating enemies and bosses so much faster and safer than without, that the trade-off tends to end up saving you more HP, if not netting it all back again from enemy drops. The best defense is an unstoppable Chernobyl laser? Yeah, let's just go with that. The Wii wasn't much of a graphical jump from the GameCube, but Prime 3 still manages to stand out like a PS3 game running on inferior hardware. I especially love how the PED suit will become more and more corrupted as time goes on. The same can also be said for Samus's facial reflections as she slowly distorts into a glowing, veiny freak show. I especially enjoy the menus and HUD updates for the Wii, even though the Wiimote basically makes lock-on a pointless feature since your aim is now completely up to you to steadily hold your hand for minutes on end as you button mash, and just trying to lock helps you face the general direction you want to fire, not actually aim there. And did we mention that Hyper Mode looks incredible? It's like the devs decided that this minor role it had in the first game just wasn't enough, so they went full-on phase-on crazy this time, for better or worse. He didn't even mention his poster. I have a poster! Samus, alongside 3 other bounty hunters, is tasked by the Galactic Federation to deliver vaccines to their several recently infected and promptly deactivated Aurora units, which are effectively massive brain-like AI biocomputers. I can't possibly see how this will all go wrong! When a sudden space pirate attack followed by the unlikely return of Dark Samus causes the 4 hunters to become infected with Phazon, Samus awakens a month later in the PED suit, containing and allowing control of her Phazon corruption. She's also immediately tasked with finding the other 3 hunters who have all mysteriously gone rogue after weeks of maintained corruption.
I sure hope our friends are okay and not out to kill us.
Samus then planet hops her way through many space pirate battles, Phazon-infected creatures, and even an escort mission on her journey to—
It sure would be bad if Ridley showed up again.
Did you see a body in Prime 1?
No.
So Meta Ridley shows up multiple times, culminating in him becoming rebuilt as Omega Ridley. You even fight him while falling down an elevator shaft at one point, and it's amazing! Well, except for the actual fight itself, it's kind of irritating, to be honest.
So how about those obvious Aurora units?
Oh, fine. You purge their corruption like an overworked, acne-ridden Geek Squad employee and call it a day.
Wait, really? No fight? What about the other hunters?
Oh yeah, they totally try to kill you while somehow being possessed by Dark Samus.
Okay.
Yeah, this Phazon is some potent stuff,
Which makes it all the more worrying how Samus will even survive her exposure. Especially how she keeps filling her helmet with the blue goop and motorboating it until she vomits in hyper mode.
So Samus goes to each planet to locate and destroy the massive Leviathan seeds that crash landed on each and infected the planets. But each one is being guarded by a powerful boss, like, don't mind the big glowy red dots, man, and I sure hope you're colorblind, Guardian.
Left unchecked, these would become Talon 4 incidents all over again, so that's pretty cool. But it's sure a letdown that you kill them all with the exact same cutscene that you even prompt with the same button each time, just to continue the cutscene. Oh? Am I gonna do it? I can do this all day, pal.
Come on, that cutscene's really cool.
Oh, I know, I'm just a musty old curmudgeon.
So eventually, this leads Samus to the planet Phase, the source of the corruption, obviously, where she defeats Dark Samus as well as a fully corrupted Aurora unit.
Mother brain fight! I knew it! Totally juked me out there for a while, game.
All right, Captain Obvious, what's gonna happen next?
The entire planet explodes after an ominous countdown?
Of course. How many planets has Samus just casually detonated now?
So far, 5.
Well, another one bites the dust, disintegrating all traces of Phazon in the galaxy with it, including Dark Samus, as well as eliminating Samus's corruption completely. Somehow. I don't know, it's space magic or something.
And if you get 100% item completion?
Then you get a post-credits scene showing Samus' ship flying away into the stars, secretly being pursued by Sylex's ship.
Who's Sylux?
You remember? Metroid Prime Hunters.
The janky DS game? Yeah.
He's one of the 6 or so hunters you fight in that game and fights with a super annoying electric gun. He didn't even appear at all in the main Prime games, and to be honest, his role is pretty minor in Hunters to say the least.
Come on now, that right there is some chain of memories bullshit. Considering the last 2 soundtracks were absolute bangers, isn't Retro Studios' hot streak due to fizzle out soon?
The main theme even has this drastic change of tone. It's dark, creepy, and utilize a chorus, giving it this super unsettling vibe. But is it any good?
Yeah, it's amazing, I love it. Almost had you go in there for a second, didn't we?
Though Prime 1 and 2 are both arguably better Metroid games, Corruption is still one of the best games on the Wii.
Think about it. This controller made for awkward Mario, abysmal Zelda, and dozens of other quirky titles just trying to desperately accommodate this wonky contraption.
But when it came to Metroid Prime, the transition actually strengthened the game so well that they ended up re-releasing the entire trilogy with the new Wii controls.
Name another franchise that could say the same when it went for a ride on Nintendo's big white Wii.
And no, the Wii will never not be a funny name. The positive gamer in me had a blast with Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, giving it a well-earned 9 out of 10. Sure, it's more linear than the first 2, but the set pieces and cinematics more than make up for it, resulting in another outstanding Retro Studio success. Now where's that 4th one I pre-ordered back in 2017?
The critical gamer in me sees the few faults in Metroid Prime 3 Corruption in hindsight, but they aren't faulty enough for me to go below an 8 out of 10. The game is still really solid and holds up surprisingly well even today. But what do you think? Let us know how your positive and critical sides rate Metroid Prime 3 Corruption in the comments below. But if you can't loosen up and just accept that sometimes the motion is gonna get hard to get a nice firm grip on your Wii, I have a poster! Then you're just playing with yourself!
Yeah?
Did you guys know that I actually have a poster for this video game that we're reviewing today in this episode of Playing With My... Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe for more and use the links in the description to nominate your own episode. And thank you to all of our Patreon members, Atomic Thomas, Arrow, Minya, Sid, and Crystal. Boop. I have a poster.